Russ Hoaglin. I was born and raised in, born in Independence, raised in Raytown. I live in Independence now.
Russ, what do you do for a living?
I'm a truck driver.
Truck driver.
Yep, I haul pretty much any and everything around. From shoes to chemicals to I've hauled vintage motorcycles from the middle of Kansas that we're going to go to Korea. I've hauled some pretty weird shit.
What but you're a third generation truck driver?
Third generation. My both my grandpas were truck drivers. My dad still is a driver after 40 years, and I told myself I was never going to do it, but here I am.
Here you are.
Yeah.
And you have one brother I know of, right?
Yeah, I got one young.
sister?
Well, I got a younger brother and I got an older half sister.
Okay.
She lives in Nashville.
Now, wasn't your brother in the Army?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he was in the Army. They taught him how to blow stuff up. So that was a good life skill for him to have, apparently.
Yeah. And you're sitting in front of your FXR.
My FXR2.
Why don't you tell us about it?
It is a 99 FXR2. When I bought it from a guy in Omaha, it looked massively different than how it sits now. It had a narrow glide, wide glide front end, or narrow, wide glide, 39 millimeter tree, wide glide, had spokes on it, had big massive apes.
Right.
They were like 32-inch apes. They were huge.
I remember they were
They
crazy.
were huge. Even I was, like this. Yeah. It rode like a dump truck. It really did. Looked okay. It was very 90s. Had actually that fender on the back wall had a soft tail fender on it, big swoop fender.
Right.
I took it down to the frame, rebuilt it, put a 120 cubic inch Ultima motor in it. That's been apart since.
Yeah, really? I know you bought that motor at Swap Meet. We found out that it's probably not a good idea to buy motors. Didn't we deduce that the guy had worked for Ultima or something, and he was putting together motors out of the bad parts?
Yeah, pretty much. I was gonna build. It was my first big twin I ever messed with, and Tommy, he was like, "Man, just get an Ultima motor. Just they're great." He had one in his chopper. I think he had a 113. And he said he beat the piss out of. And
well, everybody says they beat the piss out of them, and then you get one, and you're like, "This is a hunk of junk."
Well,
it's not anymore.
It's not anymore. Yeah, it's a lot less Ultima. Really, the only thing left that's Ultima is the head castings and the cases. It's got a Woods cam in it now. S&S rocker boxes. Took the compression down from 10.5 to 1 to 9.5 to 1 just because I wanted a little bit more reliability.
Yeah.
My buddy Clint out at Big Bore Cycles in the middle of Topeka, right outside Topeka, he built it.
Yeah, it's a little more than just outside Topeka.
Yeah.
It's in a weird spot.
Yeah. Middle of nowhere.
Pretty much middle of nowhere to have that big of a motorcycle shop.
Yeah, but guys come from all over.
Because he builds all those drag bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Also hooks you up with the weird FXR parts because he's a weirdo FXR dude.
He is. That's how I met him. I was walking around the swap meet. I had an FXR shirt on, and he said something derogatory. I turned around, and he was like, "You got an FXR?" I was like, "Yeah," and
I met him at the swap meet because that's when I was selling parts, and I met you at the coffee shop. But
we probably seen each other at the swap meet because I used to go to them all the time.
But definitely, I would have had the FXR then.
I think I seen you down there at the coffee shop because I'm like, oh, another FXR.
Yeah, I think that's where we met, was on the FXRs. But you did all this work yourself.
Yeah, minus the paint.
Right.
I didn't paint it. I'm not a body guy. Never claimed to be.
But I remember you tearing it apart, and that's sort of a thing I'm into, is people that just jump right in and want to...
This was my third Harley. I built a couple Sporties before that.
Yeah, I remember you had that really fast Sportster.
Yeah, the blue one. I'm just a little bit big for a Sportster.
Yeah.
You know, love them. They get a real bad rap, but really, you beat the hell out of a quad cam, and it just takes it.
Yeah.
It's super reliable.
They're great bikes.
Yeah.
Where did it kind of begin for you with cars and bikes and stuff? Did that?
I used to come, actually where we're at right now, I used to come down here with my dad. Like as soon as I was 10 or 11, you know, I was a typical 80s kid, late 80s, early 90s. I had, you know, the Lamborghini posters and shit like that. But Dad owned his own truck, and if you're not working in it, you're working on it. So I came down here and messed with it, and my neighbor growing up, Joe Wyatt, always had cool shit. Always. He had hot rods, he had choppers, still does to this day. My dad's buddies, they all had hot rods and stuff. And then as I got a little older, my cousin got into Mustangs. And me being, I was always a Chevy guy because my dad was a Chevy guy, and you know, it kind of had a big rival. But I used to hang out with my cousins. They were all older than me. They all had cars first and everything. And it kind of really hooked me into automobiles. And I had four-wheelers and classic bikes that we would put around down here on this land. But yeah, I pretty much, ever since, I got into sports for like this long. Yeah. And I got back into cars.
Yeah. So you had a Camaro when we met.
Yeah.
And when did you build that thing?
I bought that car in 06, and I think I did everything to it in like 07.
Was that kind of like the first car that you...
No, I had, before I was 16, I had a 53 Chevy pickup 5-window. Traded that off for an 87 S10. Now, this is all before I can drive.
Right.
You know, traded that off for an 87 S10. It was just like a 4.3 crew cab.
Yeah.
And it didn't run. None of these cars ran. And then my dad's buddy, he wanted the truck, but he had this 71 Malibu, and I wanted that Chevelle real bad.
Right.
So I did odds and ends, worked for him on the weekends, you know, side jobs, you know, what kids do, because I was only like 14 at this time, maybe 15. And I got that Malibu. And I never did end up finishing it. It burned up in this shop. The shop burned up in 03, and it was with it.
So then after the Malibu,
I bought my mom and dad's car. I bought the station wagon,
nice.
AMC Eagle.
Oh, cool.
4-wheel drive station wagon, you know, and AMC stands for American Motor Crap, you know, because in the 60s AMCs were all cool. 80s AMCs are kind of junk. Yeah. You know, it's everything that the big three didn't want. You know, AMC's like, we'll build a car. But it was neat. I didn't think it was neat back in because it was a station wagon. You know.
But now you're like, that'd be cool.
That was pretty neat, you know. You never see them.
No.
I had that, and then I bought a 80 C10. It was a factory inline 6, 3 on the tree, manual brakes, no thrills, and somebody already swapped a 350 in it that probably had 500,000 miles. Like the cam was just flat. It made a lot of noise, went nowhere. Perfect for a 16-year-old. Mm-hmm. You know, I smoked the Borg Warner 3-speed in it and put a Muncie 4-speed in it. And me, just being a stupid teenager, smoked the Muncie 4-speed, put a Super T10 4-speed in it, and I got to where the cancer on it was pretty bad. I drove it for a couple years, and in the meantime, I got a 97 Firebird Formula, and that was like my first real, you know, quick car.
Right.
Quick for 18-year-old.
Right.
And it was fun. It was
quick
fun.
I got it. 03.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it did 14s, you know.
Yeah.
For a teenager, you know, 14s back in the day was fun.
Well, that's what I was talking to somebody about. I had this, the first car I ever built was a Honda CRX.
Yeah.
I had Hondas, and I kind of tinkered, and I bought the CRX for $300. I put this Japanese-only motor in it a ZC engine, which is like a non-VTEC 1.6 liter dual overhead cam. I had short throw shifter. I had done some dirt for a guy and ended up with like a bunch of parts off another car, and it was like full MSD ignition. We built a ram air induction hood on it. But at the track, I could run a 15.75 mile. And at that time, for a 4-cylinder, was pretty quick.
Those little CRX, I never got into import cars.
That would have been in like 2002.
That was never my gig, but those little Rexes, man, they weighed nothing.
Yeah.
You know, those were quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of fast cars. But like you said, even that car running 14-second quarter mile, at that time we were like, wow, this is fast.
You know?
And then you get to your dad's, you hang out with some buddy whose uncle, like that's what it was for me. My buddy's uncle had this Vega called Good Vibrations. And we were in it, and my buddy's dad took us for a ride. It was like, oh, this is a fast car. And it wasn't even that fast, really.
Yeah.
Because now I'm watching people run these drag cars on the street where I'm like, this is insane. Like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, back when I had my Camaro, you know, 11s were respectable. You know, you'd go out, I used to go out and street race and stuff. 11s were fun. You know, you get faster than 11s, you got big money into some stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Wasn't all these guys running turbos and 28-inch slicks and, you know, street cars that are pretty much trailered, you know, on alcohol.
Right.
You know, that's what it all is now pretty much. There's some quick guys, you know, drag week. Those guys are all insane.
Yeah.
You know, Larry Larson
My
drives
buddy Jake did that with his Firebird one year, the Fire Chicken.
Yeah.
He won it, where they drive their car to all the drag strips.
Yeah, got to make a pass in the next town.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there's legit guys that do it, but a lot of guys are like, yeah, it's a street car. Looks like a tubular chassis, man.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Now Jake has a Chevy Cobalt that's technically a street car, but it's like
but the motor's now sitting in a different, you know.
Yeah, in the front, it's got his dad is very good. His dad and his uncle are the guys that got me into doing work professionally. His uncle really. I was doing stuff with him, and his uncle said, "Let's find you a tech school to go to. You could do this for a living. It seems like you want to do this. Like, let's quit messing around with these stupid jobs you're doing. Let's just do this." You know? But yeah, there's like insane stuff now. So you had the Firebird, and then
Then I got the Camaro after that.
And the Camaro you built pretty.
It was pretty radical for the time. I mean, in all reality, it was a cam only LS1.
Yeah.
You know, it had exhaust, but it had the factory intake manifold on it.
Right.
It was a 6-speed car. I love my manuals. This truck is going to be my first automatic, actually, that I've actually played with. The fastest I ever got at KCIR was 11.6 at 122. So I mean, I was trapping. It was a highway monster. You know, it would just eat in third. I had this guy. His name was Pat G. on LS1 Tech, which was, you know, a forum back in the day.
Forum days.
I know, forums. You know, now we all got Facebook.
Yeah.
But I told him exactly what I had, what I wanted. He spec'd me out a cam, and it was.
There's probably still 20 guys on that forum getting on there.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. You know, or there's kids, you know, that are getting, you know, a 97 Corvette, and they're like Googling stuff, and they're like,
finding these old message board posts. Yeah. Yeah, you had the Camaro a long time.
Yeah, I sold that 3 years ago. 3 years ago. It was super nice. You know, I got to where driving it was a chore. It's not like I wanted to go to restaurants because I was always scared of somebody door dinging me.
I remember that because you never really brought it out because you were just, it was such a nice car at that point, and it became so valuable because it was so nice that it was like, this is better just.
Yeah, I mean, it was a garage queen. You know, I drove it in the rain twice the whole time I had it. It was just a toy. I never daily drove it.
Right.
Everybody keeps asking me, do you miss it? I really don't.
Yeah, I only have one that I missed. Remember that green 65 '65 Chevy van. I
Yeah.
had, the one that had the wizards on it.
Yeah.
I kind of missed that van.
That was
days.
dope.
I was like, that's a cool van. But
That was
still,
dope.
I have like 3 vans right now. So, like, you know, like, I'm sitting there looking like, I need to get rid of one of these, man. I don't need 3 vans.
You know, I miss this being in one piece more than that Camaro.
Right, and that being your C10.
This is the 76 C10. It's a factory big block truck. Factory big block short bed truck. It's a Big 10. No AC. Does have power brakes, but it's pretty much a bare bones truck. And I was hunting for another short bed C10. I was actually really wanting to find my 80. And then I came to the realization, if I find it, it's probably going to be
rotted to the bone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be worth it. And
it's probably this big inside of been crushed.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
It's on a slow boat to China
You
right
know,
now.
the Krager wheels I had on it are probably all gone.
Yeah.
You know, because I had some old school Street Stars that were like the Weld knockoff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found this. I never really messed with a big block ever, so I kind of wanted to do it. You know, everybody, you know, all my dad's buddies, you know, big blocks were the shit back in the day. Well, you know, after doing some reading, big blocks are still kind of the shit. You know, but they're not cheap at all.
Right.
You know, you got to find the right person to really build one that knows what they're doing. You know, because then everybody wants to LS swap the world. LSs are cool. They got their place. But I kind of wanted to do something kind of a little retro. You know, I'm going to probably keep the 15s on it for a while. You know, just make it. I get more looks in this truck than any vehicle I've ever been in.
It's also kind of a thing of like the era we grew up in, where that was, I mean, it's like the start of big wheels, but like, I'm the same way. Like, I'm working on this truck right now, this 54 Chevy, and the guy's obsessed with putting 20s on the front and back, and I'm like, man, it's gonna look not cool like that. Like, it needs like a stack. The truck needs it's a hot rod. It needs to like that, you know? It's like same thing. Like, yeah, slam it down, but leave it on the 15s. Like, get a little more tire underneath.
Yeah, I am gonna put 28s on the back. I haven't decided if I'm gonna put 28s on the front or if I'm gonna stagger it. Haven't decided. With coilovers, I could probably level it out a lot more.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much making this just a cruiser where I could go on a Saturday, me and the old lady hit the key, drive to Arkansas if we want to, and I don't got to worry about it. You know.
Yeah.
I'd really like to do the power tour one time. Probably put AC in it if I do that.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, and you said it was a no AC truck. All I could think of was like, I'd probably go ahead and get that air conditioning.
I've thought about it, but it's got wing glasses. You know, that helps out a lot.
That does, yeah. I will tell you, putting one of those AC kits in, is like, with your skill level, easily done.
It's what everybody says.
Easily done.
But it's, you know, what I've looked up. It's $2,000.
It is.
You know,
it is that much. Yes.
Yeah.
To buy a decent kit.
Yeah, but it all looks factory for the most part.
Yes, you can make it all look factory, or you could spend the same amount of money and go with like Restomod Air and get something that's a little fancier looking if you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the same price as the vintage Air stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that truck's super cool. And again, you know, like you said, you're not really a body and paint guy, so you do all the mechanical. I've watched you do that. I came in here and your whole truck is torn down, chassis. You swapped the chassis out.
Yeah.
So you're not afraid to do that. Is that just, you think that's just from when you were growing up and you're like, obviously as a truck driver, like having the shop and everything, like your dad wasn't paying somebody to change the oil in his car.
No.
And he still doesn't, and I know that because I put rockers on his truck, and I'm pretty sure I changed the oil while I was doing the rocker paint.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's seen me and my dad work together, we're almost like a little bit more Whiskey Tango version of Orange County Choppers. Like, we're bantering back and forth a lot.
Yeah, just without the aggression.
Yeah, for the most part. For the most part, you know. When I was younger and he was younger, it got a little bit more aggressive.
Right. But now you can kick his ass.
Well, nobody wins. Nobody wins.
No. You went to the gym all them times just so your dad would quit picking on you.
Shit. That old
he
man
still picks on you.
That old man getting equalized real quick, totally, throw a wrench at me.
Mentally preparing myself to be like, fuck, I know Russ's dad is gonna be there.
He wanted to come down so bad.
With me.
He wanted to come down so bad and be in this. Mm-hmm. So bad.
We'll have to fuck, we should have brought him.
Yeah, because he's got stories from back in the day. Before he was a truck driver, he worked at cable before it was Cable Dahmer.
Yeah.
Turned wrenches, stuff like that. And I think he got into trucking just because it was better money.
Right.
I got into trucking for a little different reason. Got into a bad motorcycle accident. I've worked in a few dealerships, mainly parts, and I got to where nobody wanted to hire me because I was in a badass motorcycle accident. I learned how to walk, damn near lost his arm, and I grew up in a truck. I've been driving those trucks before I could drive cars, and it just came natural, and been here ever since.
Yeah, just went in your union right now. And
yeah.
That's a whole other deal.
Yeah, it's a whole other deal.
You wake up at the ass crack of dawn every day.
Yeah, which is a curse and a blessing. I don't mind going to work at 2 a.m. and getting off at noon, but I do want to sleep in past 5 o'clock sometimes. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, most people don't go to bed at 6:30 at night.
Well, right now I would normally be snoring. It's 7:40. I'd probably be asleep.
I appreciate you staying up late for me.
Well, I get to sleep in till like 5 tomorrow, so
cool.
Yeah.
Late day.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. You can stay till midnight then, dog.
Well, no, I'll be out before then.
Yeah, I can't make it till like 11. If I stay up till midnight, I wake up and I'm like, oh god, why did I do that?
Well, yeah, because you wake up anyways. You wake up at 3 and 4 anyways. You're like, I've only slept 3 hours. I
don't wake up that early. I wake up at like 6:30ish, but still, that's early for me. I kind of enjoy my 8 a.m. start time. It's like, yeah, that's a fine time to start banging shit with a hammer.
Yeah, but if you're trucking at 8 a.m., you got people.
You got problems. I understand. It's different industries. The bike's running obviously as good as ever.
Yeah.
It looks great. And you're pretty much done with that now, right? Like there's not much.
I could put a dual disc front end on it. I could. Probably not going to for the foreseeable future. I like the fact that I can go out there, turn the key. For the most part.
And that dual disc, that's something like you might come across one and just very easily be able to like, okay, now I found it for the right price with all the parts. I'll buy it. But
I had one, and then I got this, and I was like, I'm not going to do it. I made money on it.
Right.
A lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, they're worth a lot of money. I've sold quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I do have another, so the back wheel that I'm in front of is a stock FXR2 wheel. I do have the other mag that it just isn't polished. When I go put a tire on it, I think I'm going to have Clint throw that one on there. Because I'll drive all the way out there to have Clint do my stuff.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
For sure.
That and I support somebody that's helped me out.
Make some loud noises back
there. That's why we close the doors. So loud noises.
Yeah. Yeah, Clint's great, for sure. Definitely, I'm a big proprietor of that, too. Like, go to where the people treat you right and where you fit in. It's not just about who does the work best or... It's about where it's just like a job. Like, you work where you fit in at, right? Yeah. Like, if you don't fit in, it's not going to work out. So even as being a customer, if you don't fit in with somebody... In my situation, I just know all the people that do all this stuff. So when I need something done, there isn't much I can't do. If I'm taking a whole thing apart, putting it together, modifying the sheet metal, doing all that, the body work, the fabrication. It's just when it comes to like the insides of things. That's where I can't. I have tried and tried. I do not understand how the inside of a motor works. I get it in principle and in theory, but like for me to take that apart and you want me to have the patience to like, I barely have the patience to like weld up a sheet metal piece and not work the shit out of it. Let alone to be like, well, I'm gonna torque these all down to the perfect spec. No, dog, we all know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
just you know, like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, motors was always I loved taking apart motors and putting them back together. The only reason why I didn't do it on this one is because there was a lot of machine work involved, and he said if he puts it together, you know, it's warranted kinda.
Yeah.
And Todd Mashmeyer out in Grand Valley's doing that. Like I said, it's nothing stupid crazy.
And now that's your only hold. That's what's holding you up right now.
Yeah, that's all holding me up. You know, I could put the cab down on the body, but I kind of want to put the motor transmission in.
At this point, I would tell you to wait because it's a lot easier because you can roll your chassis out, drop your motor and trans in, hook up so many things before you put the cab back on.
Yeah, you know, and the bed, 6 bolts.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the front clip, which that core support that you see is twisted. That's why there's a whole nother one that I found in the junkyard, because from what I've been finding out is this old GM stuff, even if you refab it a little bit, so much better than the repop shit.
Oh yeah.
So much better.
Well, I mean, everything is, the repop stuff is generally, they make a mold out of the easy side. So like on a fender, they will make their mold out of the outside of the fender. So when they stamp that, it's automatically a little bigger than it used to be.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with it. That would be my opinion on it based off of someone who uses aftermarket parts all the time on shit and has to like literally split panels in half and move them and grind the edges down. I had to add metal to the top of a door the other day to make it fit the door opening, like. But these things weren't perfect when they made them either.
No.
The cars today still, people have this perception, oh, it's a brand new car. Well, if I went over your car with a fine-tooth comb, I could find dirt in the paint, I could find a run probably, I could find the bumper doesn't match the body color. There's all these things that happen. So they were never perfect, and they weren't meant to be. So like when people are like, oh, it's no different. Knowing what you have into this, right, doing this, I was just having this discussion with somebody today. A brand new truck for a top-of-the-line pickup truck. Not even top of the line. It's inching up to $100,000.
Yeah.
So the idea that you think you can take an old shit wagon to a shop and have them tear it down to the nut and bolt and make it all new for less than that is insane.
Yeah.
Like, because I've been building a pretty crazy truck and everybody's freaking out and I'm like, well, it's what the guy wants.
Well, labor, I mean, it's all labor. You
right.
know,
it's all labor.
You know, with the internet, you know, you can look up anything and research it. Now, are you going to have the balls to do it?
Right.
You know, I mean, there's some stuff I've messed with that I'm like, it's a lot of money. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to gamble on me messing it up and then I got to pay twice.
Right.
You know?
That's what people that ask me about, I'm going to get my paint done by you. And it's like, okay. And then they're like, that's too expensive. I'm like, all right. And then it's like, it never fails. Yeah, I tried to do it myself and it's messed up. Or it's, I did it, I paid this guy and it's all messed up. It's like, well, now it costs more.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, yeah, oh yeah, it costs more now.
Yeah.
Because now I got to do extra work than what I was going to do before.
Yeah. You know, the frame... You know, because I said I was not a body guy. You know,
right.
I pretty much took...
The video cut off. My bad. Tell me again about you went through and you did a thing where you hydroblasted the...
I pretty much got a attachment off Amazon and hydroblasted it as best as I could. Then I took a wire wheel. That was pretty much how I prepped it, and then I got it pretty down to the metal.
Yeah.
And then I primed it, POR 15'd it, and that's how it is right now. It's pretty dusty. You know, I really probably could have done a better job on the fuel tanks, but again, it's not a show truck.
It looks great. It looks great for being, dude. It's DIY, man, and that's what this whole thing is about. It's about, like, instead of just being like, oh, that's how the car sits in the guy's driveway forever, right? It's because he goes, oh, I can't do it. Instead of doing that, you've always overcame somehow. Even when you're building your bike, you called me up and said, I'm a little overwhelmed putting this thing back together. Can you come over? And I came over, and we worked through whatever the issue was, and you got it back together.
And I mean,
I saved your life.
You did,
because you had your fucking brake on backwards. But
Raytown education.
Hey, dude, but it's like a weird thing that when I showed you, you're like, I would have never known that. And it's like, you wouldn't. It's just some weird thing that I knew because I did that before. I put the fucking brake on backwards. You know what I mean?
And you said something about, I called you, well, now that I've done this, because I've had down to the frame, I've had the motor out a couple times.
Yeah.
I now get phone calls, want some help. I got a buddy of mine, Seth. Did you know Seth?
I think
out of Lawrence.
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
His shit's down to the frame. It's all nice and powdered and everything.
Yeah. It's been that way for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. I forgot what's really holding him up.
Didn't he move to Kansas City
He moved to Kansas City. He's pretty much doing it in his apartment, like on his living room floor now. And he called me up and he was like, hey, where does this bolt go? And I was like, fuck, I don't know. I didn't take it apart. What do you mean? And he showed it to me, and I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, it goes right there, man. He's like, sure? I was like, I'm definitely sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's only 13 bolts on the whole motorcycle.
But, I mean, I know I can't tell you how many stupid-ass questions I call Clint about.
Oh, yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll call him just to bullshit, when he's not overwhelmed, because, that dude is doing it all. He's doing your job and the fucking, he's the mechanic, he's the owner, he's the parts guy, he's all of it.
Yeah.
So every once in a while,
and then he's got his buddy calling him, who's also a customer, going, "Hey, Clint, I took my bike apart. How do I fix this?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "God damn.
Yeah. Yeah. So every once in a while, I'll call him, just chit chat, see how he's doing. But time is money at the end of the day.
For sure.
It don't matter what you're doing, whether you're painting cars, driving trucks. Wrenching, it's all time.
Yeah, no, that's what, a lot of people don't understand that. We were talking about paint earlier before we started, and it's like people don't, like you asked me, because I had put rockers on your dad's truck, things happened, he went and got it painted somewhere, which I'm glad he finally did. But
me too.
You weren't like, you asked me the price, and you said, and I asked you what they did, and I told you, you said that's spot on what it was.
Yeah, it was.
It's like, that's just what it costs. It's a lot, because I know, especially on that truck, I know the hours that it takes to like put the thing together correctly, and like everything that's there. Like, think about how much time it took me and another guy to do those rockers. You know what I mean? And we were rocking and rolling doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but after. And I'm not discounting what you all did at all, but after watching you all, I think I could try it. I probably could not do it as fast or as good as you on the first time. No,
you could do it as fast. You could do it as good. It would take you a long time. To do the first one, which I didn't do my first one that fast, right? But I've done rockers on that same truck like 30 times now.
Well, it's because when GM built them, I think they rusted.
Dude, they weren't as bad as the brand new ones are.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could, dude. It's just a matter of if you can weld, right? It's like you know how to use tools, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to like doing all this, it doesn't scare you because you already know how to use the tools. Yeah. All you have to do is learn how to weld. If you know how to weld, then you're like, oh, well, I could just cut this piece of metal and weld it in there.
Well, it's funny because like we were talking Monday and you were like, is the bike going to be up here? And I'm like, yeah. Shit, the exhaust bracket's broke. Fuck. So we don't have we got an old school arc welder.
Yeah.
That is a pain in the ass to use.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to use that.
And we have a gasless MIG that just doesn't have enough balls behind it. So I called my buddy Chris up, and it was late one night, and I went over, he lives close to me, and he was like, you want to, burn this together? I was like, no, man, I'm like time, man. Like, I'm going to go to bed here, like, real soon. You do it.
Yeah.
So he did the first bead, and I was like, you know what? I'll take a crack on the back because we're going to have to grind it down anyways.
Yeah.
And I sat there and fucking... Chris is like, damn, that's pretty good, man. I was like, I really haven't welded since, like, high school.
Yeah.
You know? But it makes me really want to go out and buy a fucking MIG welder, and I don't need to spend the money.
Yeah. They're very affordable, though, luckily. For
now.
what you would use it for. Yeah, for
Yeah.
now they are. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's all it is knowing how to use tools, you know? And I think that's, once you do it, like you said, you're not afraid. And then next time you do a little more, like, it would really take nothing for you to be like, well, I can put the cab corner on this truck. It's pretty simple. It's a few tools.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just the more tools you have, the easier you make it. Like, I have crazy tools, and people are like, why do you need that? I'm like, how do you... There's, like, dudes I work with now that don't have things, and I'm like, how do you not have it? Like, how do you not have this handheld belt sander, dude?
Yeah.
Like, and you remember seeing that?
Yeah.
Like, that's like... I use that thing more than anything. Oh, you've got an angle grinder? Cool, dude. Like, that's like where you go, cool, boomer. Like, oh, cool, you've got that thing? Nice. It's not 1950 anymore, guy.
You know,
like,
I got tools over there that I've used 3 times.
Yeah.
But every time I've had to use them, I've needed them.
those stupid ass giant sockets for Harley Davidsons. Jesus.
Yeah.
I never had those, and I was always like, all right, who can I call to where finally I just like ghetto welded one up one day. I just put a piece of
You talking about
tubing.
for the transmission sprocket?
Yeah.
That final drive.
There's like 14 different ones, and you're like, I don't know which one I need. Can I just take them all? They're like, no, you can't take them all. Like, well, I guess, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I invested in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. You know, pretty much twin cam back, it's pretty much the same. So I was like, I'll buy that one because I really don't fuck with anything besides an Evo. You know, back to motorcycles, you know, I've rode a new M8. They ride super smooth. Super nice, you know. If I could afford one, realistically, would I buy one? Maybe. But
Dog, you're going to tell me when they dropped that FXR knockoff bike the other day, you weren't like, ooh.
No. Dude, that FXR knockoff fairing, it looks like, I'm going to go on a rant here.
Oh, no,
I'm gonna do some straight FXR guy
Before
shit.
you start your rant, I want you to know, I saw that and I was like, hey, Harley's finally paying attention. Like, they're starting to get it. Like, make something cool that's kind of like an FXR.
But Harley, they always do 85%. You know, you were right there, man. You could have done it. You know, they could have just repopped their own fairing.
Yeah, but then but they already did that one.
Yeah, but instead, now that they took their fairing and made it look like Indian cloned it, and then Fisher-Price cloned that one. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
I know. That's because you're a hater. Because
You know,
you're one of those FXR guys.
I am.
You're that guy.
I am.
You're an FXR guy.
You know, if I had unlimited money, I'd probably have a shovel FXR that was more pain in the ass than this one.
Yeah.
But I'd love it.
One of the cop versions. It's got I'm surprised you haven't bought the rest of the fairings now.
No, I like I said, this is done. The only reason why I put the oil cooler on it was to keep this big boy nice and cool, because I think that's part of the problem that happened before.
Right.
So, because I was just riding the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And I actually, you know, for as much shit as everybody talks on Ultima, I didn't even know it was hurt. I was just changing the base gasket. Yanked the cylinder up, I'm like, oh shit, and it ran.
Yeah.
It didn't want to start, but it ran.
Right.
You know, but Harley gets a lot of hate. They're so simple. So simple.
They are. Maybe now if I still had my FXR, we could have seen if that was fast enough now to outrun it.
Shit. The 120 was, you know, before it got all the good wood shit in it.
No.
I fucking wax that ass.
No. It takes you didn't have the balls then that was required to go to the lengths I would go to win a race.
No.
They are fun. I kind of miss my FXR. It was a great bike. That thing, I wish I just had one with a stock motor in it.
Yeah.
Because that thing was like, and Johnny and I were talking about that. It was just like stupid mode where I had to baby it, and then after I did some upgrades to it and put those shocks on it, it would like lift the front tire all the time. And I ain't no like, by no stretch of the means am I a dude that's like, I want to pop a wheelie.
You out here stunting?
Yeah, I don't need to do that. I don't give a shit. I went the opposite. I want my bike to like, I was more concerned about it handling, which was what my goal was when I put that front end and changed the ass end on it and lifted it up higher. It made it handle like crazy. But then at that point also the motor was built so crazy, and I did switch the clutch out, and then all of a sudden it's every time I'm taking off it's like, oh, it's like, no thank you, I do not want this.
See, the diesel style torque that Big Evo makes, it don't pop the front end up. It just annihilates the rear tire.
Yeah.
You know, even with my big ass on it.
Yeah.
And but I built this bike for like, I could ride all the way down to Arkansas right now.
Right.
Hit the twisties and ride back comfortably.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it is a comfortable
setup.
They're very comfortable bikes. For sure.
For one,
you have the mid controls and you have it. It's like a thing that like they're all like that, people say, but it's like there's a reason a lot of them are like that, because the way you sit on it when you're sitting like you're in a chair, having your arms right there,
you're just cruising,
man. You're just cruising. It's just perfect. But with those bars like that, nice and tight, you're able to. You can maneuver, and like those fairings are cool because I always like those fairings because they're solid mounted and the front end moves behind the headlight don't move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's nice in like high winds. You know, I could be riding with guys that are on, you know, street glides, and they're back here fighting it. I'm just cutting through it.
Right.
You know, guys back in the day threw those fairings away. You know, it's crazy. And now, you know, an original Harley FXRT fairing.
Yeah, what are those going for now?
Stupid money, you know.
What's stupid?
I have no idea.
$900 is stupid.
No,
a few years
I
ago.
bet it's. I
probably
bet
more
it's
than
double.
I don't know.
I bet it's
I'm out
double.
of the parts game now, so I don't even.
I really don't either, because if I look at something too long, I'm like,
I could get that.
I need something. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe I do buy.
You and I are similar that way. Where like
FXR.
we got our mind on something, it's like I can't afford it, and then it's like, but I'll figure out how to get it. And then that's when you start like somehow either start hustling stuff or you go hunting at the swap until you find one. I haven't seen one in a long time. But best believe to this day, if I see an FXR part laying somewhere and somebody's like $1, I'm like, I'll buy that.
I could flip that right now.
I'll just take that over to this other guy and sell it to him.
I seen the other day going home, this dude on a purple chopper FXR, like old school style chopper, super extended forks, and I was like, what is that? Where did he come from?
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen it before in my life.
Yeah.
Which is rare because, you know.
Yeah, there's a couple of them around now that are chopped out that are pretty cool. but also then there's part of you that like, you kind of ruined that FXR. Yeah. Like that's the problem, because you're like, oh man, you took the best handling bike Harley ever made.
And you made it not handle.
And you made it into a giant ass chopper.
Yeah. You know, but I don't know. Now the 90s Arlen Ness stuff is coming out. You know, it's coming back with a vengeance.
Oh man, I had all that Arlen Ness stuff on my bike.
You know, and my hair, I don't have the mullet for that, you know.
Yeah, if it go white, you'd be pretty Arlen Nessy though.
Well, maybe. You know, it's not really my style.
The fancy mirrors.
The fancy mirrors. I got Harley fancy mirrors. They're CVO.
Yeah, but everybody rocks some Arlen Ness side covers.
That was like the first big thing I did. My girl got those for me, and then she was mad because she's like, they didn't come the same color. I was like, no, honey, you got to paint them.
Yeah.
You know. So
did you tell them which color it comes? Like you ordered them. Like
yeah, it comes black.
Yeah. Like, no, remember when you bought them and it didn't say, hey, what color do you want these in?
Yeah. But
if they did, it wouldn't be that color because it wasn't the color of the motorcycle when it was new.
You know, actually this is really close to the stock color.
No, it is. The thing about those bikes is they all had, like mine had that crazy 1 year only like tricolor candy thing, and it's like everybody's like, oh, don't repaint that. And I never painted my bike because of that. And that's the one thing I regret. I wish I would have done a crazy paint job on my bike.
You know. Yeah.
Torn it down and done it. It's weird because
You're a painter.
Right, and then my chopper was like the most, like, it was super nice, But for all the crazy shit I paint, my bike was just, the frame was all marbleized, and then the tanks were like one color with the fade, and everybody's like, "That's it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know."
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna do more, but then I thought,
when people go all out, there's always a fine line. I like the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Simple is always in style.
Right.
Plain colors always in style. Is the bass boat thing always going to be in style? No. Is the 90s swoops always going to be in style? No.
No, but every 10 years they'll make a comeback.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming back.
Oh, yeah. The tribals.
I'm supposed to help a guy do some graphics on his drag car. We're going to do some straight up 90s stuff on it.
Really? Like some stuff that you went back in like a lowrider in 2001 magazine?
No, like the drag cars, the big swoopy graphics. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oranges, tangerines.
The only thing, like the gassers, they're always the same ever since the 50s.
Yeah.
But they're so cool.
And they always, there's a resurgence of gassers right now for sure. And that happens quite often. That kind of thing comes and goes. Right now it's gotten to a point where there's just every car scene exists in some way. And they go up and down just over whatever.
Well,
drift cars are huge right now.
Oh, yeah. See, and I've got no desire.
Oh, it's cool, man, to see those guys build those cars.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's cool. It's just, I don't know. It was never my thing.
Yeah.
Like, part of the problem in my head is like driving, you get to think a lot. I'm like, I'd really like to build a Model A, with, a 12 valve Cummins, just something weird. It's been done. Yeah. Everything's been done now.
Yeah.
Unless you put like a Rolls Royce motor out of a 42 tank or something in it, something real stupid. But my styles are all kinds of weird. Yeah. I like it all pretty much. Like I said, I never got into the tuner stuff. Back in the day, it was American versus import.
Right.
I don't care now. Some of those tuner cars are pretty cool. Some of the Euro cars are pretty cool. Bugs. Bugs are, my old lady, her first car was a bug. So one of these days, I'm going to dive off into that and build a bug. Mark my words.
Volkswagens are cool, but I have a love-hate relationship with them.
They look so simple,
They do. They seem so simple, but boy.
That German engineering gets you.
Damn Adolf Hitler cars, man.
They really were.
They're hard to make reliable, and they're just weird. They're just weird. You know what I mean? They're totally different than like there's things that they did to those cars where you're like, this is the best you could come up with. This engineering here. They're super simple, but some of it's just weird.
I worked at a body shop for like a summer. I was laid off. The company I was working for, I was like, well, I'm a double dip. I'm gonna still get my unemployment from them. They laid me off.
Body work.
I'm gonna go do some body work for this guy, and I was literally a grunt. The dude was super cool. He was almost like he was coked out all the time. He might have been. I don't know.
He probably was.
But like he had this Roadrunner, so I took this Roadrunner apart, and he would refab it, and he's like, put it back together, and I'd like halfway put it together, and he's like, I've got this VW van. We need to do that. And I'm like, what about this one? He's like, the van. I was like, okay. One night I left, and you know how the front of those vans all get really rust.
Yeah.
They get pitted real bad. He sat down one night and like made it all like glass with just, almost like brazen. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
I was letting it.
Because I'm not a body guy.
He was probably letting it.
Yeah. One night, and I came in, I was like, that looks like a whole new front end. He was like, yep, I'm going to go home. What am I going to do? But I worked for cash, so I didn't care.
Yeah, that guy's definitely cooked out.
Probably.
Sure.
He was an alright guy, though.
If he's staying up all night doing lead work, there's probably some cocaine involved. But he's an old body guy.
Yeah.
Hell, I had a cocaine.
Yeah, I was never big into body. I was a really good parts guy.
Yeah.
I worked at Blue Ridge Mazda for a while. I did the whole teenager AutoZone. I was actually advanced. That was
O'Reilly's.
That was
night manager.
Dude, the night manager. My advanced story, because I worked at Lee Summit, and I worked nights. I was still in high school. This lady come in. She's like, "Where's your 710?" And I was like, "710? What do you mean, ma'am?" She's like, "710." And I was like, I'm not playing with you. I don't know what you mean. So she went out there, opened her hood, and it was oil upside down. I was like, "Oh, 710. That's oil, ma'am." She's like, "Well, I need oil." I was like, "Okay."
Where's your 710?
710.
God, O'Reilly. Man.
You know, but I got some sweet Ultima batteries from that place because that Advance pissed me off. They wanted me to work the night I graduated, and I was like, "Yeah, some red tops going out the back door. All my buddies are getting red tops."
Yeah.
Back when Ultimas were good batteries.
Yeah, I think they're still pretty good.
I don't think so.
I think it's Optimas now.
What the fuck did I say? Ultimas?
Ultima.
I meant Optimas. That's what I was talking about.
No, I think people still use those.
Do they?
I've never been a fan of them. I always just use regular batteries.
Just the lead acid?
Yeah. Give me that lead acid, baby. I'm old school.
Well, you don't want to put a lithium battery in it and watch it burn to the ground?
No, I had one of those my motorcycle, my chopper, and it was from China, and for all the time I was always like, this battery's going to explode my balls one
My
day.
ass on fire? Am I going to be Ghost Rider?
It's like, you don't know what's going on? What is that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that bad? Because I had like such a tiny battery box on that thing.
I remember that.
That was a cool bike.
That was a cool bike.
For being, if it wasn't a hardtail, for being a hardtail, it wasn't too uncomfortable with that seat I made. But that thing would boot scoot boogie down the highway with my $400 80-inch Evo motor in there. Which at the time people were like, "What?" I remember I bought two motors, one for $400. I bought another one for $500. I tried to buy yours, but you wanted too much money.
You did buy mine.
I did buy yours.
You did buy mine. That was the factory bike out of that. I remember what...
Maybe the motor that was in my bike was the one out of your...
No.
It might have been.
It might have been.
That might have been the motor I kept was the one out of your bike.
Yeah. Because
I knew it was good.
It only had like... I yanked it out and it had like 30,000
I think it was.
On
I think your motor was the one I used in my bike. Because I had other ones, dude. I'd buy Evo motors for $300, turn around to some hipster, pair it with some joke-ass transmission or something else, like $2,300. They're like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Yeah, they're putting on a kick.
Give me another $200, I'll give you this cool carburetor, too, man. And
it's a CV.
Oh, yeah. No, it'd be like
There's 4 of them back there somewhere.
No, I use CV. I wouldn't use nothing else.
CVs are...
You know me, I'm a CV guy.
You know, they're super simple. Again, keep it simple. You know, that Mikuni... takes forever to tune them, but once you get them tuned,
and honestly,
they're
for
decent.
as fancy as your bike looks, it's very simple. It's built. It looks very fancy, but there's nothing super complex on it. Same thing with your truck. It looks very nice. It's gonna be super simple. Your dad's Dyna that you cleaned up that you got for him, same thing. It's just very simple bike.
Yeah. Really, the only thing that's done to that Dyna is that pipe and those bars.
Yeah.
I bought that bike from the Indian dealer in Olathe, and they were like, one of the kids from the coffee shop was like, "Do you know anybody who wants to buy a Dyna?" And I was like, "Well, what is it?" And they told me about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy it." They wanted like $2,000 for it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were like, "Well, there's no warranty," and I was like, "I don't give a damn. It's an Evo Dyna for $2,000."
Yeah.
So, and it had like 10,000 original miles on it. We just replaced every rubber part in it.
Right, and at that time, like, that was like now, that same bike would have been like $7,000-8,000 since they quit making the Dyna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, having that bike, just like your Camaro, you keep it nice, and that thing's only gained value since your dad's had it.
Yep, he just painted it, that was it. Painted it, the bars, and I bought him the pipes for Christmas. Me and my little brother went in, because it had some hideous drag pipes on it, you know, just no power, just ridiculously loud. I hate drag pipes.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, 2-in-1s all day, every day. You know, I'd love Thunderheaders if they didn't break all the time. They sound the
that's
best.
hard thing. It's like hard to get a decent 2-in-1 exhaust for a Harley Davidson because they seem like a lot of people. They try to mass produce them, and then they don't mass produce them well enough, and then they.
Well, now they're, like that pipe. When I bought this Bassani, I got it on sale for like $650.
Yeah. Now it's probably 1,000.
I think it's more than that.
Probably. It's crazy, dude. Parts are crazy. Paint's crazy. We're using clear coat at work. It's $1,000 a gallon just for the clear, dude. I looked at the painter and I was like, "Yo, homeboy, like we get House of Colors for like $500 for the kit, and it's way better."
Yeah.
All right. Well, Russ, I guess tell us. Give us your tag's not Dinah.
Yeah.
That's your Instagram handle too, not a Dinah.
Yeah, NT Dinah.
NT Dinah.
Yeah, because it's not a fucking Dinah.
It is a Dinah. I really appreciate it, dude. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
We'll check back in soon. We'll check back in once you get the truck back together.
Hopefully soon.
And maybe we'll have Dad come down and we can talk to his wild ass.
Oh, I'm going to be a comedy reel. I got you.
Yeah.